During these past 2 weeks, the hater has been slowly losing his mind with all the stress of having my wedding and my family in a foreign country and all that other stuff. And one thing that's kept your boy sane is this channel and these videos because they remind me of home. So as I get ready to head back home in the next couple of days, I figured, what should I do to make this video extra especial, motherfucks? And what I came up with was listening to the people. One of the common threads that was being articulated in my comments was the idea that apparently SmackDown hit effectively a record low of an abysmal, an atrocious, an awful, a shitty, a cuckish 1.1 million views. This is unacceptable. Now, the interesting thing about this, of course, and the thing that automatically comes to mind for anybody that's listening to this video or that read those comments or that wrote those comments, is that 1.1 million is obviously dangerously close to under a million, right? I mean, the only thing left is 1.0 something million, and after that, we're heading to the direction of fewer than a million viewers, which is just laughable at this point. At this point, you might as well just shut the doors of the business and move on with your shitty life. That's just the way the hater sees it, and I think that's the way a lot of people see it, even here in the busy streets of Sao Paulo up in this bitch. Now think about what that means, motherfucks. Think about what that means. AEW, right? That shithole company, that pissant company, as Triple H quite frankly correctly called it, when they started, they drew in 1.4. Imagine, motherfucks, if AEW started, I don't know, how about Saturday? You know what I mean? How about one day after SmackDown? And they drew 300,000 more than SmackDown. We might be having a very different conversation in 5 years' time. See what I'm saying? The standards are so low that now to be fair, it is peak AEW. Peak AEW now seems like it could legitimately compete with WWE. If you people remember, when AEW first started and they drew these pretty good and respectable numbers by today's standards at least, one of the common threads, as this jabron sings on the street, one of the common threads was that there was this expectation that AEW would improve, right? Like with time, they would get better. They might draw more people. That never happened, of course, but that was the expectation. They were like, oh, 1.4 is a really good starting spot. Nobody, except for the hater, saw that they would just be going downhill since then, literally every fucking minute. But nevertheless, the point stands, right? SmackDown at 1.1 million? Are you fucking losing your mind? Like, what the hell does that even mean? Like, Raw, forget about Raw. Raw is done, you know? Someone in the comments put that Raw drew like 2.6 million. Well, we already know that doesn't count at all. Raw counts its viewership however the fuck they want to, depending on the time of day. Apparently, for those that don't know, I've mentioned this before, but Raw viewership is counted as using a relatively complicated formula when it should be very easy. How many fucking people watched the majority of the show? That's it. You know, as it was happening live. Because Raw does stream live. Now, I understand it's Netflix. A lot of people aren't going to see it live. But with Netflix, you get like a global audience, right? A global motherfuck. See what I'm saying? So it should be counted live, but fine. Let's just say because it's Netflix, the numbers are a little bit wonky. We're going to fix it a little bit, right? But the way that they count is basically they count like every time someone watches an hour of Raw on Netflix, that counts for 1 hour of programming. So they divide the total number of hours by 3 to come into like a conclusion about the number of viewers, right? Globally, over 1 week. Basically, starting on Monday and ending right before the next Raw on Monday, right? Which is absurd. Like, you're giving a show 1 week to count. But anyways, fine. Now, I'm glad I'm making this video now because fundamentally what's happening is things are going to change even for the worse, right? We all know it. We all see it. Tonight is Thursday. In about 10 minutes, the NFL game starts as this airplane flies over me. And the NFL is going to have a game tomorrow. Strangely enough, they got advertisements all over the place here. Tomorrow's game, which is like the Chiefs versus the Chargers, I think, It's going to be taking place none other than Sao Paulo itself. The hater might even decide to go there. Who the fuck knows? They've been this mug, right? But the point is, Friday now, we have football. So you know already that tomorrow, there is a very, very high probability that SmackDown will draw less than 1 million. If they're smart, they'll just sacrifice this week's episode of SmackDown and make it some sort of like compilation episode, right? Some sort of like, best moments of SmackDown in history, because you already know nobody's fucking tuning into that shit tomorrow. It's already done, motherfucks. Like, SmackDown, when they debuted on Fox, I think they debuted at 5 million. I could be wrong, someone fact check my ass. But they debuted in the multi-millions. And now, they're dangerously close. I think it's safe to say that by the end of the year, we're hitting under 1 million, right? They're dangerously close to under 1 million. Think about that. Think about a show that has dropped like by 80% viewership. Because that's what it is. If we go from 5 million to 1 million, and it's going to be less than 1 million, but if you go from 5 million to 1 million, let's say, where we are now, basically, that's an 80% viewership drop. You see what I'm saying? That is absurd. That shows, like, anybody who's smart knows that this is basically an indicator that this shit isn't working out, right? And I think that's something that a lot of people aren't ready to come to terms with yet, right? Every time you see these kind of changes, that goes to show that the old system isn't working. It could be that the system's not working optimally, but it probably means that the old system is shit and it's not working at all, right? Same thing can be said about the UFC. You know, I don't need to see the numbers. I don't need Dana White to lie to me and gaslight me to know that that company is on a downward trajectory, right? When you have champions that all fight the exact same way, a bunch of wrestlers who sniff each other's balls, if that's what you want to see, then UFC is for you. Nobody wants to see that shit. Pay-per-view numbers are obviously down, so they're changing their model to the Vince McMahon model. Once again, Vince McMahon's massive cock rears its head again in the influence that he's had in basically the pay-per-view model, right? He invented all this shit. So they're doing now a deal with Paramount. WWE, like, you already know. You already know, motherfuckers. SmackDown is a few months away probably from announcing a breakthrough deal with like Slink TV or Hulu or some shit like that. They're basically in their TNA arc. Remember when TNA left TV and they're like, you can catch us on like My America TV on Access Channel. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know what I mean? Same thing's gonna happen in SmackDown. They're gonna make some sort of bullshit deal. They're gonna beg Netflix. They're gonna suck their cock. They're gonna say, hey, can you please take SmackDown for us? Because nobody's watching this shit. And we have to keep producing it because otherwise we can't get asses in seats. Because at this point, it's unbelievable. It's literally crazy to think that an episode of SmackDown probably generates more money from live attendance than it does from TV. It's insane. It's insane with the prices that SmackDown commands, just a few $100 for most seats at most, right? You get seats for like $50, $60. But despite that, they generate more money through that probably than through TV deals. Because ain't nobody paying to have SmackDown on their network anymore. This shit's now a burden. See what I'm saying? It's a burden for WWE. It's a burden like NXT was a burden for a while. When they were like, oh shit, we have nowhere to prostitute NXT to. They're like, we tried everything. We put this motherfucker on Sci-Fi, right? On Sci-Fi. ECW on Sci-Fi. NXT on Sci-Fi. Which basically means that no reasonable person wants to watch this shit. And Sci-Fi Network is like, oh, we suck ass, you suck ass, maybe we can help each other out. And I don't think anybody was helped because I don't even think Sci-Fi Network is a thing anymore, right? And NXT had moved to Hulu, and now it moved to wherever the fuck it's on now. I think it's on TV, but I'm not sure, to be honest. Yeah, I watch it on Hulu, so I don't know. The point is, motherfuckers, that nobody gives a shit about the WWE anymore. It's no longer a big deal. And quite frankly, a lot of the fanboys that are out there lying their asses off, saying things like, well, nowadays, people watch TV differently. Well, I'm going to venture to say that the NFL game tomorrow is going to be watched by like 10 million people. So I'm not so sure, you know? And people always leave the NFL out of the argument, right? People always say, well, people are watching everything less except the NFL. Well, to the hater, that seems to suggest that the NFL is the only entity that knows how to fucking run a TV show, if that's the case. That's not the case, though, because there's plenty of TV shows that draw in millions of views. You know what I mean? Plenty of things. Like fucking, what's it called? Tucker Carlson would draw in millions of views. How is Tucker Carlson outdrawing Raw? Can you imagine that shit? Like back in the day? Like Jon Stewart outdrawing Raw? Like it was inconceivable. You know? Jon Stewart would get like 800,000 views, numbers comparable to SmackDown today. SmackDown would get like 6 million. You know? Things were different, motherfuckers. Things were different. It has nothing to do with people watching wrestling differently. It has to do with the product clearly getting worse right before us, which is going to be the next video that I do. But insofar as this shit goes, I mean, I personally am looking forward to the day when I sit here, which might be by next Friday at this point, which where I sit here, and by next Friday I mean this Friday. What the fuck am I talking about? It might be like tomorrow, you know, where I sit here and I tell you motherfucks that SmackDown has dropped to under 1 million. I think it'll take a week because like they have to update the viewership. It takes like a few days after. But anyways, we will be here sooner rather than later, motherfucks. This shit is done, all right? WWE is now worse than TNA was as it was dying. Forget about Prime TNA, which was drawing like 2.3 million. It was drawing twice as much as SmackDown is today. Like, just think about what the fuck I just said. TNA at one point drew twice as many viewers as SmackDown. TNA drew almost the same number of viewers as Raw on Netflix in 2025. And that right there should tell you all you need to know. Because you can suck your own balls all you want. And you can lie to yourselves all day. And you can say people watch TV differently. 300 million motherfucks watch Netflix. 300 million motherfucks. So what about that? How do you explain that shit? Oh, they don't watch on Netflix so they can go watch on YouTube? Go fuck yourselves. Go fuck yourselves. Everybody knows what's happening here. This company is going down the fucking drain right before us. And the dumbasses that still like it, the stupid ass fans, they're out there saying like, wow, Triple H really like took the reins. You know, that's what I want to hear. I want to see some of these Triple H dipshits turn around, look at themselves in the mirror, stick their own head up their asses, and finally admit the truth. That you knew it all along. Well, at least I knew it. Some of them are dumbasses. That Triple H was going to be the death of this fucking company. And that the reason why this company was even alive still, even though the format has already been destroyed, is because of Vince McMahon. So, until these motherfucks turn around, I personally will hope for the continued failure of WWE. I couldn't give a shit. I am a free market capitalist primarily, and I believe that if you suck ass, you should suffer for this economically, right? If you can't draw the money, go fuck yourselves. And with that being said, take care of yourselves, motherfuckers.